we are back in this mansion once again to read more Five Nights with Harry by Harry Lawrence. We are on chapter 10, I believe in the last chapter, Erica took Mangled away to get fixed. Harry let the manager know about the situation. Kind of. The manager thinks she's broken, being destroyed by the others. What else happened? The toy animatronics, we got to know the ghosts now possessing them a little bit, and we start to see the toys and start to see Harry as family, as an older brother. And I believe that's it, as far as I remember. But anyway, let's get on with chapter 10. And as always with these videos, if you wish to follow along, chapter link is in the description below as always. So, let's get started. Dumbledore frowned a bit as he sat on the chair as Remus and Bill shared looks. How mad I did was take a swig from his hip glass. You stated that you found something, Remus. Slowly, the werewolf nodded. Harry contacted me and asked me to look around for any signs of dementors in the area of the pizzeria. I at first thought he was worried due to the article on the front page of the Daily Prophet the other day about the encounter with the Dementor in downtown London. There was a twinkle in Dumbledore's eye at that. Ah, yes. Cornelius is trying to perform damage control, from what I've been told, with his office inundated by those angry and worried. It has had the effect of making some question the official ministry line. However, Remus just nodded as he took a deep breath. So, I asked Moody to come along with Bill. At the look of surprise from Dumbledore, he shrugged. I had felt something like the protections that Frederick tried there the last 3 times. As he stroked his beard, Dumbledore gave a nod. When I had placed the protections on Frederick Drive, I made them so that they would fall wherever Harry stayed with the blood of his mother for a long period. So, I suppose that it is possible that the protections have also formed there due to his Archer's presence. Grunting, Moody placed the box on the table. Lupin asked when you could come, because I know the Dementor tracking spell. All Dementors from Azkaban have them, though they're easy to remove. With another swig from his glass, he continued. Putting them on is hard, so no one would do so if they were trying to hide. Just the same, we did get a return on the spell. Now curious, though he could sense the dark magic in the box, Dumbledore frowned. And what did you find? The 3 men shared a look before Moody opened the box and dumped the contents onto the table. After a look, Dumbledore frowned a bit as the objects appeared to be rotting pieces of a cloak with scorched marks. There was also what seemed to be ash, along with a crystalline piece of bone, which he picked up to better examine. Now what is this? Bill spoke up with his next words having caused Dumbledore to drop the bone. From what we can tell, that's the remains of a Dementor. With widened eyes, Dumbledore looked up at him. Best we could figure, the Dementor ran headlong into the protections and, well, it was like a moth flying into a fire. The protections burned it to ash. Frowning in thought, Dumbledore conjured a stick with which he picked up the scraps of cloth, which he now knew belonged to a Dementor's cloak. Interesting. While the protections created thanks to Lily are quite powerful, they should not have been able to do this. Once more, Remus cleared his throat. Wait, I have a bit of a theory on that. His hands folded in front of him, Bill frowned. For what little I know, the blood protections that Lily left on Harry were fueled by her love. When you anger them, you use someone who shared his blood as an anchor. Nodding, Dumbledore waited for him to continue. With his Aunt Rose, Harry not only has someone who shares his mother's blood, but also, from what I've been told, loves him deeply as her nephew. Thinking it over, Dumbledore hummed. It is certainly possible that both parts got together to strengthen the sections even further than normal. He then noticed the looks. There's more, isn't there? Having taken a deep breath, Bill let it out slowly. There is. With slightly shaky hands, he took a cup of tea and drank it. Blood magic, you see, is unique. It for lack of a better word, feeds on upper blood magic, something it seems that Freddy's is steeped in, thanks to all the deaths. The protection absorbed that loose blood magic into itself and boosted it even further. The eldest Weasley child ran a hand through his hair. Honestly, anyone who attempts to attack Harry with magic within the confines of that place will be lucky if all they lose is their wand. More likely, they will be injured in the process. Dumbledore sipped at his own tea as he leaned back into the chair. Interesting. A few seconds later, he smiled slightly. It seems that Harry is now even safer than he was at Privet Drive. It was then a thought occurred to him. Remus, you mentioned before to me that you had bought the pizzeria, correct? For Harry, correct? At the confused nod, Dumbledore's eyes twinkled. Perhaps it might be in Harry's best interest to possibly build a bullet hold there if the protection is so strong. Uncomfortable, Remus frowned a bit. There's just one question remaining, though. Taking another drink from his glass, Moody nodded. How the bloody hell did Possum know that there was a Dementor in the area? Rose was sitting in the security office when she perked up at the sound of a tap on the door. She quickly flipped through the cameras to check on where Harry was before getting up and heading for the door. Once Rose got there, she smiled at the sight of Michelle. So, did you get them? More than slightly confused, Michelle nodded as she handed her a box. Yeah, wasn't too hard to do so. Then she frowned a bit and looked at the box. You still have not told me where you guys got the money for it. Freezing, Rose looked at Annie Michelle's face. That's not really that important, actually. However, the human just placed their hands on her hips and gave the golden Freddy a glare that her mother had given to her many a times while growing up. Where did you get the money from? With a nervous chuckle, Rose pointed at her. Had anyone ever told you how much of a mom you look like when you do that? All Michelle did was jab her with her finger, though she had a flush on her cheeks. We got some of it over the years. You would be amazed at how much loose change is left around, and how much it can build up, and how it can build up. That caused her to blink for a moment and stare. Okay, and the rest of it? For a few moments, Rose stared at her before she suddenly looked at her wrist. Oh, will you look at the time now? I've been out here for a bit, and I should get going before Harry notices. You'll be at the party tomorrow, right? The confused woman nodded, but before she could do anything, Rose slipped back to the side and locked the doors. That was close. Outside, Michelle stared at the door before her eyes narrowed and her teeth ground on the inside of her mouth. Rose. Back inside the building, Rose shuddered some from a feeling that crept up her robotic spine, then shrugged it off. Just my imagination. She then made her way back into the security office, and after having checked that Harry was still busy, opened the box to reveal 3 small plushies of Freddy, Chica, and Bonnie. Then Rose reached behind the desk and grabbed the small plastic plush that was hidden there and set it on top. It was hard cleaning you up. Wait, Harry didn't ask why I was in the back room watching something. A frown then crossed her face as she brought up a plushy version of herself. Not as hard as cleaning you, though. Still, you bunch should make for a nice birthday gift. While she dug around in the desk drawer for some paper and tape, she did not see how the eyes of the plushies all seemed to move to watch her. But by the time she was done, they were back to normal, so she put them into the box and wrapped it. All I need to do is hide you somewhere. Just before she began to look around, she stopped and stared at the wrapped box. On it was a note signed by all the animatronics stating happy birthday to Harry. Then her mind went back to just after they had confronted Harry over his birthday. Flashback, flashback, flashback. It doesn't say that, but it just said flashback, but I thought I'd make it more, dramatic. Anyway, sighing, Harry ran his hand through his hair. Guys, I didn't tell you about my birthday because it's really not that big of a deal. He was met by stares before Chica threw her arms out. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. I feel like I've lost the Chica voice, but who knows, I might get her back. She then grabbed him and gave him a shake. It's your birthday, Harry. You're turning 15. Now that is a big deal in my book. Groaning, Harry just face palmed. Look, it's not a big deal with me. I've done without them for the first 10 years while growing up. It was then that everything went quiet, and he realized what he just said. Crap. Eyes narrowed, Rose growled in her throat. What did you mean by that, Harry? Surely you had birthdays before. However, all Harry did was sigh as he leaned against the wall. Maybe with my parents when they were alive. Other than that, there was one time that a day guard here by the name of Egghead gave me a cupcake with a single candle on it and a small packet of plastic dinosaurs when I was 7. That was a week after my actual birthday. Other than that, having given me a small cake on my 11th birthday, my friend has steadily me stuff each year since then. Once more, there was shocked silence from the young tribes before the Fazbear gang clinched their hands. Though he was trying to keep calm, there was still an undercurrent of anger in Foxy's voice as he spoke. Lady, that not be right. You should have celebrated your birthdays. God, I can't help make Foxy Scottish every time I try to speak. Whatever. Harry just shrugged and shook his head. Well, maybe, but neither Uncle Vern nor Aunt Petunia ever acknowledged my birthday. It was always just another day, really. Unknown to him, the Animats silently promised to give him the best birthday that they could. Flashback and flashback and flashback. Ooh. Back in the present day, Rose slammed her paw down on the desk as she growled. You better hope that we never meet, Petunia. I would give you a chat about how you've treated our nephew over the years. So, when you die, there is going to be reckoning fully of that, you can be sure. Then, as quickly as it appeared, her anger dissipated into nothingness as she slumped. I'm so sorry, Louise. There was nothing that I could do for him before now, but I swear, I will take care of him, protect him since you can. Just forgive me for all the dark things that I have done. I'm sure she's okay with it, bro. She'll be okay. Because you're now protecting her child, so. Petunia walked up the stairs with a scowl, and was about to bang Harry's doors and tell him to be quiet as she could hear whimpers and groans on the other side of the door when she stopped. The hairs on the back of her neck started to stand on end. Petunia felt the crawling sensation of someone watching. When she spotted movement out of the corner of her eye, she turned quickly, only to meet with nothing. After a few moments, she shivered and moved away from the door. What the freak suffer? What she had not seen was the female body that seemed to be composed of shadow, watching with hateful eyes. Once Petunia was out of sight, it moved and drifted through the wall to see Harry in his bed struggling with something. Despite it not, despite it seeming not to have any lips, the spirit walked up with a growl. We told you, leave him alone. Then it jumped out with a skeletal finger which sunk into the scar on Harry's head. For several moments, Harry was frozen, and it gently pulled out its finger and sat down on the bed beside him as it stroked his head. Oh, Harry, things are never easy for you, are they? And then moved so that it was laying on the bed beside him. I am so sorry, Harry. I should have never taken out my manager to doing the night shifts. I don't blame him for what I now know about the others. Her eyes closed soon as she let out a breath and then reopened them. I had plans, dreams, you know. I was saving up money to buy the house next door. That way, I could have you come over whenever you wanted. I was even going to have a bedroom where you could stay the night when you needed. It was all I could do, as I could not adopt you. Her fingers slowly threaded through his hair as she curled up behind him. But it wasn't me, was it? I took the night shift, and then, well, I died. Aya continued to hold the now calmly sleeping Harry close to her. And I did what I never wanted to, leave you alone. For that, I'm so sorry, Harry. I wish that I could tell you how sorry, but I'm afraid of how you would react to me and how I am now. As she laid her head on his, she took a breath. I'm like a ghost now, though more powerful, and the others. The spirit's head came down and gave Harry a kiss on the top of the head. They were always so angry and sad. There's a lot of hate there. I don't really think that they realize it, though. Not much there besides their emotions for them, but they seem to listen to me, allow me to direct them. Sometimes, though, I worry because I have problems forgetting where I end and they begin. I did try hard to stop them from causing you too many problems. It was so hard, though. They don't like the guards when they're alive because they remind them of what they have lost. But when the marionette attacked, that abomination tried to kill you, Harry. If it had succeeded, I don't know what I would have become, would have done. I don't wish this fate on you at all. Suddenly, suddenly, she stilled as her expression became distant. But then he did something that we all thought impossible, something amazing. Her fingers once more began to gently stroke his head as she curled up as close as possible. You destroyed the abomination, and in doing so, freed all of us, spirits and animatronics. I was so proud of you when you did so. Now we're free thanks to you, no longer bound. But while a few of us have moved on, I won't. I can now keep that promise I made all those years ago, and I will not leave you. From now on, I will stay with you, even if even if you can no longer see or hear me. But I will be there to protect you from harm. I promise, and so will a number of the others. Aya then kissed him on the top of the head and laid there. She kept an eye out for any problems. With a sigh, Erica closed up her toolbox and looked over at where Vicky was sitting on one of the tables in her basement. So, how are you feeling? Cocking her head to the side, Vicky looked around. It feels pretty good, actually. Then tilted her head to the other side. Is it enough to go to the party tonight? As she thought it over, Erica slowly nodded. I think that you should be able to do so, though I am not happy with how your costume is coming along. Having got a confused look, Erica brought over a mirror and held it up to Vicky, whose jaw dropped. While her head was now fully repaired, along with her hands, feet, and her skeleton, all that remained of her body was her upper chest. As you can see, your body itself is going to be a long-term project, until after I get access to any of your costume spare parts. But it's better than nothing. Vicky's shoulders slumped a bit. Oh. Several moments went by before Erica glanced at the clock and sighed. I'm gonna regret this due to how little sleep I've been getting. But she walked over to the cabinet and to Vicky's confusion got out several boxes of pink foam before she walked over to the table. Hold out your legs, please. Blinking, Vicky did so. What are you doing? The young woman looked up at her and frowned. I'm gonna make you some covering. They'll be far from perfect, but better than staying but still better than a bare endoskeleton. Placing a similar foam against her leg, Erica made some marks before she walked over to the floor and got to work. I got some really loose clothing laying around that we can throw on over to help hide it even more. Lost, the animatronic fox only nodded before she asked a question that had been on her mind for a while. How did you know so much to fix me? And how did you have the parts? Eric cut the roll in half and began to make cuts down the center of each piece. I had been training for a while in the field of animatronics. As for how I had the parts, the small blade in her hand gestured at the cabinets of parts. All animatronics your current like you currently are can be traced can trace their ancestry of sorts back to a single animatronic company with this called Fredbear's here in Britain. Supposedly, some of the engineers came from Germany, where they had created animatronics for propaganda purposes, but that was never actually proven to my knowledge. The company, though, went under in the 60s while having the most advanced animatronics ever, anywhere. That caused Vicky to blink a little. Why'd they go under? While she finished with the legs, Erica snorted. They were too advanced for the day. The animatronics were just too expensive. That said, after the dissolution of the company, various engineers and such went out and founded a whole slew of other companies using Fredbear technology. or if it was swallowed up by companies like Disney, who really wanted the technology. A smile spread across her face for a moment. I went to Disney World as a kid. They actually got walking animatronics there. And I learned their blooms actually had a oh no, Tyrannosaurus T-Rex walking around a few years back, which had been used in a Jurassic Park movie. Her eyes wide, Vicky watched as Erica fitted the foam leg covering over her bare endoskeleton and secured it. Oh, wow. That sounds like it would be really amazing. As she nodded, Erica began work on another leg covering. It was, actually, those were things that convinced me to become an animatronic engineer. She cut another cylinder in half. That said, a lot of parts are close enough that some work, you can make them fit, because they're all descended from the same general source. Granted, fast-forward entertainment was the most advanced animatronics back in the early 80s, but have been outstripped some since then. Erica then looked over and gave her a wink. But don't worry, I'll have something done for you so you can go to the party tonight. The car came to a stop in front of the pizzeria and turned off. Inside, Erica yawned before she leaned over the side of her seat and looked into the back where Lisa and someone in a skirt and large hoodie sat. Well, here, Vicky. Ready to show them your new look? Whoever had looked back some. It showed Vicky's now function face as she nodded again. Yeah, I think that I am. She glanced towards the doors and felt her cheeks heat from the small lights in them. It'll be good to see Harry again. Michelle just rolled her eyes some as she got out. Yeah, I'd like to see you again. As she grinned, Lisa leaned over and stayed whispered to the proximate train. I think someone is a bit possessive. In return, Michelle growled under her breath as she clenched her fist before she stalked towards the doors. A minute later, she reached them and pounded on the door with Harry appearing once she was done. Said Wizard seemed a bit surprised at her being there as he opened the door. Michelle? Then called aside the others. Lisa? Erica? What are you girls doing here? And who's that with you? Once more tilting her head back, Vicky gave a small grin. Hey, Harry. Blinking, Harry stared for a moment. Vicky? Is that really you? At the nod, he smiled. Well, you're looking much better. I told you that Erica would take care of you. The woman in question blushed as she scratched one cheek with a smile. Keep that up and you'll give me a swelled head. It was then that Harry realized that he'd been keeping them out, and stepped out of the way as he opened the door. Right. Come on in then. He gave the back they had an inquiring look, but then frowned as Rose poked her head out of the office. About time you bunch showed up. While his eyes narrowed, he gave his aunt a slight glare. What is going on here? Does this have something to do with why you're keeping me in the office and away from the cameras? All I got from Rose was for her to stretch a bit. Huh? Something the matter? Seeing the annoyed look, she pulled Harry back to the office. Never mind. I just managed to open that cabinet, by the way. There's a bunch of tapes in there. The three women, along with the box animatronics, looked at each other and then giggled as they walked past the office as Harry argued with the undead aunt. Hey, what's the big idea? Once they got into the main party room, they looked around and blinked. At one end of the table, Robbie was taking the balloons given to him before he put them to his mouth. Then, a moment later, they were blown up and he tied them like an expert. Next, up on stage, Bonnie was talking with Rebecca and showing her various bits and pieces of his guitar, while both Freddie and Andrew were setting up the table. The door to the kitchen opening caught their attention, and Foxy walked out through them and caught sight of the floor. Well, last me barnacles, you showed up! Snorting, Michelle placed the bag onto the table. Of course we did. Wouldn't miss it. She then put an arm over Vicky's shoulder and pulled back the hood. And look who we have here with us. With several bounds, Foxy came within reaching distance at the slightly frightened Vicky. Ah, you be looking much better than what you did when you left. He pushed up his eye patch so he could use both eyes. Much better at that. Well, I can't understand why you'd be wearing such clothes for the life of me. Vicky just shrugged a bit. It helps hide hide what I am when I'm in the car. That's all. Having sat down some drinks, Lisa looked toward the kitchen. Tika making pizza? A chuckle drifted through the air as Freddie walked up. She is, though she's also making a cake as well. Thinking of the surprise, Freddie smiled. Though she does not do it often, Tika makes some wonderful cupcakes and cakes. At the moment, she's also teaching Chelsea how to bake a cake and make a pizza. While she frowned bluntly, Michelle gave the place a glance over, and I noticed that she's not the only one teaching their counterpart things either. To her surprise, Freddie just shrugged as he watched as Foxy dragged Vicky over to Dirty's Cove. There's no reasons for that, besides passing things down to the next generation. At their looks, he grunts. It also serves to get them used to the programming of their new bodies as they work and keep their minds off what has happened. There was a similar grimace on Erica's face as she nodded. Yeah, Vicky's pretty much the same way. For a moment she paused, only for Michelle to quietly speak up. How are they doing on that front? Freddie shook his head as he looked at Andrew. They're handling it better than myself and the others had, or at least I think so from what little I remember. Slowly, he rubbed his head. All the days and nights blended into one another until Harry came here, put an end to that. Then again, from what little they had told me, there wasn't much of a good childhood between them, so it has been easier for them to leave their former life behind. Suddenly, Lisa interrupted. Right, enough of that now. After all, we are here for a party and a celebration. His mood lightened, Spidey nodded with a grateful smile. Right you are. All we have to do is set up some small things, and we're done. Snickering, Michelle noticed something about the room. You guys put a bunch of cloths on the cameras? Really? Isn't Rose already distracting him? In reply, Freddie gave a booming laugh. Well, yes, that does not preclude us making it any easier for Harry, just in case. Now then, if you three will follow me, we can use some help to finish up. With a sigh several minutes later, Freddie stood back and looked over the room before he nodded with a smile. Looks good, gang. Using his long strides, he reached the kitchen and poked his head in. Tika, Chelsea, how are you doing in here? The two chicken animatronics looked at each other as they brought out a pizza, and then Chica gave him a thumbs up. We're all done here. The cake is iced, and all we were waiting for is the party boy to be brought out, and we will bring out the pizzas. Slowly, Freddie's smile widened into a grin as he rubbed his paws together. Excellent. Positions, everyone. Once they got into position, Freddie's eyes turned black into the white pupil and gave a screech which caused the humans to cover their ears with a grimace. A few months later, they could hear Rose walking down the hall as Harry shouted at her. What are you doing, Aunt Rose? Let me down this moment and tell me what bloody hell is going on. Hey, get those paws away from my eyes. Whistling, the golden animatronic walked into the room. She carried Harry into the room by having his arms held behind his head with her own arms as she had his paws over his eyes. Just a moment, Harry. Rose ignored Harry's struggles as she continued to walk as everyone watched with amusement. Finally, she reached the table and slowly set Harry down. Okay, now Harry. After she let go, Harry shook his head and then blinked. His eyes then widened as everyone there shouted at him. Surprise! Stumbling back some, Harry looked around. What? Huh? It was then that he noticed the banner that had been written messily declaring a happy birthday to him. What? With an excited expression on her face, Chica walked up and gave him a hug. Happy 15th birthday, Harry! Smelling something wet, Chica blinked as she pulled away to see Harry still staring at the banner. Then she felt another drop of water on her hand, and her eyes widened some at sight of the tears that dripped down Harry's face as he turned to look in her direction. Harry? Harry swallowed thickly as he shook some. Is this real? Did you guys actually make a birthday party? As she smiled, Rose placed a paw on his shoulder as she knelt down. Yes, honey, we set up a birthday party for you, with us here. Knowing what his shaking meant, Rose pulled him into a hug and laid her head against the side of his own. It's all for you. Not even a moment later, Chica hugged him from behind. She was soon joined as each of the others joined the group hug as Harry hugged them back as tightly as he could. Thanks, you guys. They stood there for several minutes before sharing a group hug before they pulled back and Harry wiped his eyes. Sorry about this. This is just a bit much is all. Placing a paw on Harry's shoulder, Hermione smiled down at him. Take your time. With a nod, Foxy grinned as he crossed his arms across his chest. The rabbit be right, Har. We'd be more than willing to wait for bit making. However, Harry just shook his head, and on his face was the biggest and happiest smile any of the men had ever seen him with. No, that's all right. Besides, we have a party to get to, right? They all nodded as Robbie bounced in place. Awesome! Time for pizza, cake, and presents! Still with a smile, Harry placed his hand on Robbie's head and rubbed it a bit. Yeah, it is. Once the pizza was finished, with all there having at least 2 pieces, she could place the large cake in front of Harry with 15 candles burning merrily on it. On the top was Harry's name written down with the number 15 below it. Wow, this almost looks too good to eat, you two. With Chica and Chelsea smiled as the lights of their cheeks came on to show that they were blushing. Chica then waved them off with a sword. Well, it was baked to be eaten, so go on, light the candles and make a wish. For several moments, Harry stared into the flames before he looked around. What did that book say? Family is what you make of it? He then smiled a bit as he felt his eyes become misty. In that case, I got the best family I could ever have. If only Mom and Dad was here. Taking a deep breath. Oh wait, taking a deep, shuddering breath, Harry decided on his wish as he blew out his candles. I wish for my family to stay safe and to stay with me. What none of them noticed was a shadowy figure in the corner watching proceedings. Anne looked towards the banner and softly sighed. Happy birthday, Harry. Having eaten some of his cake, Harry watched as they set down some presents in front of him. They just set aside the shelf, which was several gift vouchers, and Rose set another down in front of him. Here, this is from me and the others. Confused, Harry glanced at her before he unwrapped it and then brought out the plush dolls inside with a smile. You guys. Giggling, Harry just hugged him a bit. Now you can have something to remind you of us when you're at Hogwarts. Harry hugged her right back as in the box a set of dolls seemed to watch them. Lightning flashed and thunder rolled as the summer storm raged above and around the abandoned building. Once it was Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, like its sister location in Blue Lane. There was laughter and merriment in his halls as children of all ages had fun. But all that ended in 1980. The cause of it closing was not due to a tragedy in the building, but rather what occurred in the burnout house next door. Before 1980, the destroyed building had been a children's home. There was never a large amount of children there, but they had got the nearby pizzeria Austin. And then one night, it blew up, killing all inside. Officially, the cause of the explosion was an old World War II bomb underneath the home had exploded. Not many had questioned it. Due to the possibilities of others in the area, Freddy Fazbear's had closed its doors for the last time, which is not to say that there was much reason to keep it open. Business had been flying for a time by that point, with part of the reason having been the removing the place's Fazbear gang after they started to glitch up. Rather than have an incident like the bite of 77, they shut them down and went over them with a fine-tooth comb. What that had meant was that at the time of their closing, their only active animatronics were the original ones attached to their pizzeria, one of which stood in front of the only gap between the boards and the front window. Lightning lit her face before she suddenly jumped as a voice behind her spoke up. Watching the storm, are we, Opal? Careful that none of the rainwater gets on you. The last thing we need is you short circuiting. Her dirty and nearly skeletal metal hand dug into the flying fake fur that covered her chest as she turned towards the large shadow. Don't scare you like that, Theodore. You give someone a heart attack. A bolt of lightning in the sky gave enough light to reveal that Opal looked like some sort of rodent. In fact, she was unpositive if one had checked. The same flash also revealed her companion, who could be seen as a dinosaur of some kind. Sorry about that, Opal. Slowly, he walked up until he was next to her, as he also watched the rain come down and thunder shook the building. Opal seemed uncomfortable, for she finally sighed. Is, is Jessie okay? For a moment, Theodore considered lying, but it had been just their little group for so long that he couldn't. She's in a bad shape, Opal. I don't know if she'll make it through the winter, since that homeless guy who broke in managed to get an axe into her leg when she popped up to say hi. She can barely move from her spot now. He could feel her. She leaned into his side, hoping for comfort, while also giving some back. Unbidden, his mind went back to another night, so long ago when they were human. Him and Opal had woken up to sounds of loud cracks and peeked out the window at a group of cloaked and masked people outside the children's home. Both were only 11 at the time, so they did not expect what happened. They had watched as the matron, an elderly woman who took care of them, had walked out to ask them what they were there for when a light struck her and she started to scream as the people laughed. It had gone on for several minutes before she stopped and her body stilled. Frightened, Theodore had gotten the other children together and tried to get out the back, only for all the doors only for the doors and windows to be all stuck. Suddenly there was fire everywhere. They could remember how Opal and little sister Jessie, who was only 4 and had weird things happen around, had clutched to him as the flames lit theirs and the other children's bodies. They later awoke in what they recognized as being the animatronics' bodies from Freddy's next door. But to their horror and dismay, they found the pizzeria was closed, and they were trapped in. They waited for someone to come, as days turned into weeks, which became months, which turned into years. No one ever came, though, as their bodies slowly rusted and decayed. Theodore had done his best to keep them going, but he only used so much, so it was not good enough. Opal's voice then spoke up. Theodore, what do you think will happen to us? While he thought over what she had said, Theodore stroked the head of his girlfriend, careful to avoid the spots where the covering he's where the covering had brought it away to the steel meshes underneath. We'll get through this somehow, and together, just like always, Opal. As long as I have you by my side, we can get through anything that comes our way. Opal looked up at him as the lightning continued to flash before she tapped his leg. He's fine. Knowing what she wanted, Theodore knelt a bit so she could climb up to where he could hold her. As they continued to watch the storm, Opal placed her head in his neck. I hope so. After a few moments, she sighed. Do you remember when we were humans and we used to see this? Though I wasn't so small compared to you. With a chuckle, Theodore nodded. Yeah, you always loved watching storms. Smiling slightly, Opal leaned up and kissed him on the cheek. It was always best when you were something like we are right now. But you weren't so big compared to me back then. Her mood then dropped as her arms squeaked a bit from the rest. Theodore, what did you want for this to happen to us? No matter how much she wanted to comfort her, Theodore couldn't find the words. Finally, he just sighed. I wish that I knew. Struggling some, Harry unlocked the door to the pizzeria a few days after his party and walked in. Just as he entered, he stopped it for a moment. Something is not quite right. With narrow eyes, Harry gently placed his backpack in the security office and then began to walk through the pizzeria as he used his flashlight to illuminate the way. Every once in a while, though, Harry turned back to illuminate the hallway. As he walked, though, the hairs on his neck stood up. Where? Finally, he reached the end of the hallway and noticed Freddy and the others on stage. Now frowning, he swept the room with his flashlight, with his eyebrows furrowed. Where? His only warning was the Fazbear's gang of eyes opening before a strong arm grabbed him from behind and shoved a damn clock into his mouth. Lights out, you little shit! Jacob and the others all felt the fact all felt the fact that they were frozen in place as they recognized the manager and owner of Freddy's. Harry! For a moment, Harry slumped in place as Tony chuckled. There we go. The snort the sight had made him turn as his sister pulled off an invisible cloak. Ready, Barbs? Snorting, she twirled her wand. Been ready. Let's take care of this and get out. The witch then turned on her heel and began to walk back to the office as Tony dragged the limp and I guess supposed to be unconscious Harry as the animatronics screamed in their heads to stop. As they continued to drag him, Tony grunted over his shoulder. So, you got their memories ready to replace Heath? Barb flipped her hair over her shoulder with a snort. Yeah, though I'm just going to make it look like he hit his head and his amnesia. Headed that way to hide the month's worth of memories I'm erasing. With a blink, she looked around. Did I just hear whispers? Huh, just the creepiness of this place. Her frown became a sneer. It'll be good to see the back of this place. At least she got a good price for it. There seemed to be piles of junk. Neither of the two noticed how the shadows shifted as they reached the office and Tony unceremoniously dropped Harry. Yeah, well, still got to smash those fucking things up. Can't have to ruin anything by acting their usual ways. Might cause some questions. Clapped his hands and then grinned at his sister. I'll leave you to it. Once he was gone, Barb twirled her wand a bit as she looked around and then at the phone with a frown. Got to try and find the tapes for that and destroy them. Damn, so much work to do. She felt the air seem to get colder and then heard the whispers again with a frown. Who's there? Fuck. Get a hold of yourself. Your spell showed you that there was no one else here. Grumbling, Barb turned her back to the garb on the floor of the town. Wish I could have had some fun, but whatever. Say goodbye to your memories, kid. Oblivion. Her remote started to vibrate in her hands as it let out a high-pitched whine. Then it exploded in her hand and reduced it to what looked like a hamburger. Ah! Gripping her wrist, Barb looked around in a panic through her pain. What the bloody fuck? It was then that she felt something fade away and recognized it. The hell? There were protective spells on this place? A sudden clang caused her to flip around to see the security door was shut. Banging on the button, however, didn't open it. Shit! Barb then heard another bang behind her and shuffling noises as the faint whispers began to get stronger. Turning, she saw the security guard get to his feet, slowly, as if drunk. What in the name of Merlin? And then, slowly, the guard turned around to reveal the vented grin on his face as his limp head rolled around. However, that was not what caused her heart to start racing in her chest. That was caused by the fact that his eyes had turned completely black with a white dot for a pupil as a smoke-like substance drifted from the corner of his eyes. Backing up against the closed security doors, Barb noticed a few drops of black blood drip from his forehead. But before she could say anything, Harry opened his mouth to began singing in a voice that was not just his own, but what seemed like a dozen others, including females. Around the roses, a pocket full of posies. To Barb's growing her terror, the light began to dim and flicker. The shadow in the corner of the small room seemed to congeal into shape. What? To congeal into shape. Ashes, ashes. Barb twisted and began to bang and claw at the doors. Oh, Merlin! Oh, Merlin! Oh, Merlin! Let me out! She could hear the shuffling footsteps get closer and closer as she saw eyes and mouth begin to open in the shadows. Harry finished right before he reached her. We all fall down. Her scream of terror echoed through the building. Walking out of his office, Tony walked down towards the animatronics. As he swung an axe he had hidden in his office. The whole way he whistled and jumped a tune as he walked. Been waiting for this for a long time now. He stopped in front of the Fazbear gang and stared at them. More than 20 years I've had to deal with see your creepy faces day in and day out, cleaning up your messes. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy about all the times that I did not have to pay one of those bastards anything. More money for me, really. A laugh escaped him as he enjoyed mocking them, sharing about how often the memory of life caused The old man's get dementia. I would have loved to see his face once his precious creations were found destroyed. Still chuckling, Tony spread his arms. Best of all, I walked away with all that money. You bunch are destroyed before anything else is found out to ruin my reputation. The Baron's nephew takes all the blame, while whoever the idiot that brought the place gets is a bunch of smashed parts. Brilliant! Tony walked up towards the stage and swung the axe back. Time to say goodbye. But before he could finish, he heard a bang and winked as he returned. What the hell? The lights began to flicker as there was another bang. Barb, what the bloody hell are you doing? However, there was no answer as the lights continued to flicker. Suddenly, a scream of pure terror ripped through Pete's ear before it was cut off abruptly. Barb? As he rushed off, Freddie blinked a bit. Guys? There was a beep before he could hear Bonnie communicate with him. Yeah, Freddie? Shuddering as best that he could, Freddie's eyes shifted a bit to look up the dark hallway. I hope that whatever is happening, Harry's safe. We got agreements from all the others at that, and we are finally done. It sounds like we've got new animatronics that are being introduced as well. And oh my god, that was so long chapter. Oh, it's 50 minutes long. But I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, be sure to subscribe, and comment down below. And I guess also, I did a tour of my beach house, which we may be doing future reading fanfiction. So go check that out. I did a whole tour of that place. So, but yeah. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next Friday since this was too long of a video. And yeah. Anyway, bye!